Okay, my first pass is going to be with charcoal. Willow charcoal. I will cover the entire outline of where the form comes in from the solid black background. And what this does is, first it establishes my parameters of where I'm going to be working. I'll cover any dark that's in there, especially cast shadow, and anything that recesses behind something else. So pretty much in general, I'll lay this out everywhere I'm going to be drawing, except maybe my lightest lights. I don't really want to do that. So I'll skip his muzzle, which is pretty light. I'll go across the bridge of his nose, the base of his nose where it turns down. I'll hit the crease underneath his wrist. And then I'll just run him off the page. So for what it's worth, basically, I'm going to cover him. I had to stop and think about what I was doing real quick. It's kind of weird to do this and talk. Okay, so what this does, what this process does, is this charcoal, I've almost used half of this, this powdered setting on the paper will tone down the vibrancy of some of the other colors that I use so it doesn't just jump out. Then you can see right with what's left in light and what's in shadow, I kind of have him blocked in decently. So where the tones get cooler, I take my next value up. I go from black to my bluish violet gray, and I'm going to hit the cool tones back into the recesses. I'm going to hit right under where the shadows would fall. I'm going to really hit the outer edges where the light passes over the form and it emerges out of the dark background. And the reason for that is I want to cool the distant forms as they come in to view, and keep my warmer forms that are in light with more warmth, oranges, yellows, etc., more in light. So I'm going to hit all of these forms, back of the hand, where the arm goes down into shadow, underneath the chin, where the little hairs will light up, and then all through the darkest darks. I'm going to go ahead and hit that too. I will probably still go in with more black charcoal, but right now I want to kind of diffuse the strength of the pigment that I place over the top of this. So, okay, from that, I'm now going to go in with my warmer brownish red and hit some of the halftones, some of the lights where he kind of breaks into form, the top of the ears. I'll hit the brow. I'll go in and hit the skin tone that's within the darkness of the eyes, where it's inside the muzzle, back behind the muzzle. I'll even hit the muzzle itself, and I'll go ahead and cover where the white is going to go, where his little whiskers go. And I might save the roundest form. I'm going to hit the back of his hand. I'm going to hit the palm of his hand and all of his fingers. His knuckles. I've got a little grit in there, I can hear it. There it went. So if that ever happens, that's one way to combat it, is that if you hear that sand, it's usually because there's a rock or something in it that will not allow the pigment to come off the stick, so, or the pastel stick. Okay. There's some light passing through here. Now I'm going to go up to my next level, and this is my orange, more orangey, earthy brown. I'm going to hit the lightest lights. I'm not going to hit everything. I'm going to start hitting now the parts of him that come out and pick up the direct light. So the little half moon shape of his brow. Definitely. Now see how bright this is compared to that? That has a couple of layers of different pigment underneath it and it's not so bright. But where this comes out into the light, I can control the brightness of what I'm trying to place on the black paper. This comes out more because it's warmer and more pigmented. So I don't want everything on him to come out like that. So I reserve that just for my most prominent areas, like his little ear. I don't want the ear to jump out off the page and come to the foreground. I want it to stay in the back. So his knuckle, this finger, and then that knuckle on his paw. And I'm going to move this one over just a bit. No, I'm not. That's his little finger, so I didn't have that wrong. I was almost thinking I just misplaced it, but yeah. Okay, so that reaches over the top of his that reaches over the top of his head. Then he's got a wrist that comes out in highlight right here and picks up some of that. Now the reason why I use these brighter colors is to prove that you don't have to have perfectly matched color or tone off of a reference to come up with a really nice drawing. It will look believable if you match the values over your choice of color. So it's such a battle to get students to understand that if you have the right choice in value, that you can pretty much set a really nice drawing down and not have to slave over the color. Okay, so now I'm going to hit my lightest lights, which is going to be right around the center of his muzzle, down to his lip. It's going to hit the top edge of his nose, the bridge of his nose. It's going to hit the center light of his brow. I'm going to hit the eyelid just below, so I know where the eyelid goes. And the back of the knuckle, the tip of the finger, the top of the fingers above the top of the head is picking up another light altogether. Just the back top of that ear, the rounded form of this ear. Now these are noticeably less intense than this because I have nothing in the background of this. And that really does just hit a little bit of a highlight, the top of his wrist. There's some light that comes through, breaks over the back of the hand. This knuckle picks up light and is backlit. There's a little bit of light that hits this one and a little bit that hits this one. Now I've pretty much, I believe, got him blocked in. So I'm going to break a new piece of charcoal because I can't get what I want out of that one, and I'll be right back.